Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah, we'll begin with a new book here, as you can see, written Tazkiyah Nafs, and this is written by Imam Ibn Rajab and Imam Ibn Qayyim al-Zawji, and then Dr. Abu Hamid Ghazali. He translated the two scholars, the two great scholars book. Abu Hamid, I mean the three of them, the compilation from the three scholars, Ibn Rajab, Imam Ibn Qayyim, and Imam Abu Hamid Imam Ghazali. And it's written by this Dr. Ahmad Khalid, if I'm not mistaken. To begin with, it starts with sincerity on page 3. If you are looking at your own thing, I downloaded this, so I won't be reading all this biography. This is for you to read, so at least you know. So here it says sincerity is the freeing of one's intention, because this is based on the well-known hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about hijrah. So sincerity, he said here, is the freeing of one's intention. You free your intention from all impurities. You free your intention from all impurities in order to come nearer to Allah. This is what or how they define what is intention. Okay? And so it is to ensure that the intention behind all act of worship and obedience to Allah are exclusively for Allah Ta'ala pleasure. This is how when you state that you state an intention, it's referring to this, what is intended. It is the perpetual contemplation of the Creator. Okay, when you state the intention, is the perpetual contemplation of the Creator, to the extent that one forget the creation. This is what we have heard again by Imam Ibn Rajab Hanbali in the book of Journey to Allah. You can find this is how they define how focused they are in doing the prayer. So sincerity is a condition for Allah acceptance of good deeds. This is the importance of why the intention is so important, because it is a condition for Allah's acceptance of the good deeds that we do. In accordance again with the Sunnah of the Prophet, doesn't mean that the condition for Allah's acceptance of the good deeds that we do, but it is not what the Prophet showed. In other words, as normally you hear about this innovation thing. Okay? So that's why they raise the issue of innovation. But this one they are talking about you follow according to what is performed in accordance with the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah has commanded in Surah or chapter 95 and 98 verse 5. And they have commanded to worship only Allah, being sincere towards Him in their religion, and deen is religion. Abu Umama radiallahu anhu has related that a man once came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, "What of a man who joined us in the fighting, his intention being for fame and booty?" The Prophet ﷺ said, he receives nothing. Because remember, the action is determined by the intention, and this is already stated clearly, because the man wants to join the fight with the intention for being famous and he's going for the booty. So the Prophet said he will receive nothing. Then the man repeated the question 3 times, and each time the Prophet ﷺ said he received nothing. Then he said, only Allah accepts action that are intended purely for His pleasure. And regarding this, I have mentioned to you before, if the intention is not correct, you need to reinstate. If you are seeking for Allah Ta'ala pleasure. Okay? Al-Imam Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu related that the Prophet ﷺ said in his khutbah during the farewell pilgrimage, which means Allah will bless whoever hear these words and whoever understand them. For it may be that those who pass on this knowledge are not those who will understand it the best. There are 3 things concerning which the heart of a believer should feel no enmity or malice, which is number 1, devoting one's actions to Allah, giving counsel to the imams of the Muslims, and being loyal to the majority. So what is meant here is that these 3 things strengthen the heart. Okay, strengthen our heart, and whoever distinguishes himself in them will have a heart purified from all manner of deceit, corruption, and evil. A servant can only free himself from shaitan through sincere devotion. See, if you do it sincerely, you are free from shaitan. And Allah is the one that tells us in the Quran that Iblis said, except those of your servants who are sincere. So this is a confession made by Iblis. If you are sincere, there's nothing much that he can do. Now, in this context, I would like to share with you about many of us has, as I've been repeating again, about to focus on our own Islam. And the first one is the Shahada, right? From the word Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and the meaning I bear witness that there is no true God except Allah. Can anybody share with me, or can anybody tell me what does it mean there? Anybody? You know, when you say I bear witness here, according to the scholars, bearing witness here means to explain a thing by having a knowledge of it. Right? Whatever you said, you have a knowledge of it. And having a belief regarding its being correct and evident. EVIDEN. A witness is reliable only when he has the qualification of affirmation and conviction, and his heart support the tongue, since the hypocrite bore witness or bear witness with the tongue, and Allah decreed them as liars. So this is in relation to what the intention is all about. You know, when you said something, you bearing witness here, you are to explain a thing by having a knowledge of it and having a belief regarding its being correct. You are believing in a correct belief and evidence. Can you understand this? Silent means yes. Huh? So it has been related that the righteous man used to say, O self, be devout and you will be pure. When any worldly fortune in which the self finds comfort and towards which the heart inclines intrudes upon our worship. This is what happened. Okay? In which the self find comfort, you find comfort toward which then the heart will get incline, and then it intrudes upon our worship. Then it impairs the purity of our efforts and ruin our sincerity. Simple as that. It will ruin our sincerity. Man is preoccupied with his good fortune and immersed in his desire and appetites. Rarely are his action or act of worship free of contemporary objective and desire of this kind. Again, in this context, I would like to share. This is supposed to be the book that talks about what disciplining the soul, where it says here, we need to know about the difference between perspective of our mind and the perspective of our hawa, our desire. So here it says, consult his mind particularly as he is aware that it is knowledgeable. This is in when you want to be doing something, right? You can consult your mind. Knows that Hawa normally will call attaining pleasure without taking into consideration its consequences. Right? Agree? Like what is being mentioned here. You are, the intention become impairs the ability of our effort and ruin our sincerity. So man is preoccupied with good fortune and immersed in his desire and appetite. Rarely his action or act of worship free of contemporary objective and desire of this kind. So for this reason, it has been said that whoever secure a single moment of pure devotion to Allah in his life will survive for devotion is rare and precious, and cleansing the heart of its impurities is an exacting undertaking. Are you with me?
Yes, Ustaz.
Yes, Ustaz.
Okay. So nonetheless, how turns one way from reflecting on all this? Our desire normally will turn away from reflecting what is being mentioned, that you are supposed to be knowing that Hawa will call attaining pleasure without taking into consideration of its consequences. So which makes one lower to the exact state of animal. That's what happens. However, animals are excused. Why? Because they do not observe the consequences of what they do. Okay? So they give an example. The similitude of of Hawa is that of an ignorant boy and a gluttonous sick person. For this reason, when that differ to the Hawa entreaty, a wise and reasonable person should then as well sincere in its advice. He should be patient upon what the mind orders him to do. This one, every day we will go through this. You should be patient upon what the mind orders you to do. Because knowing the excellence of the mind is enough for him to favor it. Further, if he needs additional proof of the uprightness of the mind decision, he should contemplate the consequences of the following of his hawa, such as scandalous exposure in front of people, vilification, missing virtues and good deeds. Okay, this is all to do with the mind, which I don't know, maybe later after we completed this book, we will go to this other book also written by Imam Ibn Qayyim. It is the soul, just now, what is it? What is the name of the book? Then you propose the first book.
disciplining the soul, Ustaz.
That is where it is taken from there. I wrote it down on a piece of paper just to share. Because this first
Okay.
part talks about that. So as mentioned here, rarely our action or act of worship free of contemporary objective, very rare, and desire of this kind. So for this reason, it has been said that whoever secure a single moment of pure devotion to Allah in his life will survive. Will survive, for devotion is rare and precious, and cleansing the heart of its impurities is an exacting undertaking. Get it? So in fact, devotion is the purifying of the heart from all impurities, whether few or more, so that the intention drawing nearer to Allah is free from all other motives. That's all. Is it too is it too difficult to do this? Anybody? Anybody wants to answer that? So in fact, devotion is the purifying of the heart from all impurities, whether few or many, so that the intention of drawing near to Allah is free from all other motives except that of seeking His pleasure. I mean, we all are supposedly to strive for this. And that's why we choose this book, so that we can try and start implementing this. This can only come from a lover of Allah, who is so absorbed in contemplation of the next world that there remain in his heart no place for the love of this world. Not that you don't want the world, but you don't place the love of this world when you are praying. Such as a person must be devout and pure in all his action, even in eating. Like sometimes even in eating, that's why you are required to state the intention. If you eat, you state the intention with the intention of, that you have the strength to do ibadah, then that eating becomes an ibadah itself. So this is what it means. Such a person must be devout and pure in all his action, even in eating, drinking, and swearing the call of nature. Swearing the call of nature. So with rare exception, anyone who is not like this will find the door of devotion closed in his face. Are you not scared of that? Hello, hello?
Very scared.
Ah. Okay.
Okay, Ustaz.
Yeah.
When you say devotion, right? Devotion is giving all out lah kan Ustaz. Tapi memang difficult lah Ustaz.
Not really. It's a question of put on the effort. You should read that book which your husband recommended. And that talks about the mind.
Which one?
Disciplining the soul.
Disciplining the soul?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you will get more of what is being mentioned there. That will find the dog devotion close to his face. So the everyday action, as I just mentioned, the everyday action of a person who is overwhelmed by his or her love for Allah and the Akhirah are characterized by this love, and they are in fact pure devotion. If you can achieve that, then you are considered as done a pure devotion. So in the same way, anyone whose soul is overwhelmed by love for and preoccupation with this world, right, of status and authority, will be so overwhelmed by these things that no act of worship, be it prayer or fasting, will be acceptable except in very rare cases. Very clear, brothers and sisters in Islam, so be careful. Careful. And I'm also warning myself, be careful that we shouldn't be overwhelmed by the thing, the act of worship, be it prayer, fasting, will be acceptable except in very rare cases. So now the remedy for love of this world is to break the worldly desire of the self. It tidak bernafs. That's why Sayyidina Ali karamallahu wajah, I have been repeating this many times, where it is said that you are to think of yourself. Man arafa nafsahu, fakat arafa rabbahu. So this will break you all love of this world. The desire, ending its greed for this world and purifying it, preparation for the next. So this will then become the state of the heart, and sincere devotion will become easier to attain. So there are many actions where a man acts thinking they are purely intended for Allah's pleasure. You see, that's why the earlier part of this lesson, it tells about, no, sorry, that is from that other book, Disciplining the Soul. So it talks about the Shahada, right? You see, the Shahada means you many of us say it daily, but then it doesn't affect us because we are deluded. We didn't actually want to get Allah Ta'ala pleasure, so we are deluded. And then because of that, we will fail to see the defect in them. So it has been related that the man was used to praying in the first row in the mosque. One day he was late for the prayer, so he prayed in the second row. Feeling the embarrassment when people saw him in the second row, he realized that the pleasure and satisfactions of the heart that he used to gain from praying in the first row were due to his seeing people seeing him there and admiring him for it. This is what happened to him. See, these are the things that we didn't realize, Don't go too far. What we are learning are all the basic, and this has got to do with our day-to-day things. Now, this is again subtle and intangible condition, and action are rarely saved from it. Apart from those whom Allah has assisted, few are aware of such delicate matters. Those who do not realize it, only come to see their good deeds appearing as bad one on the day of resurrection. They are the one referred to, as Allah has referred to in the Quran in chapter 39, verse 47 and 48. Allah says, and something will come to them from Allah which they had never anticipated. Like now, even when in this world, when we are going through the COVID-19, you can see this is something that we never anticipated. For the evil of their deeds will become apparent to them. That is even worse later in the hereafter. Again in chapter 18, verse 103, 104, Allah says, shall we tell you who will lose most in respect of their deeds? Those who effort were astray in life of this world, while they thought that they were doing good works. Be careful, be careful. If whatever that you do, as I said just now, if it is not solely for Allah, reinstate back the intention. Yaqub said, a devout person is someone who conceals things. See, he will conceal things that are good, in the same way that he conceals things that are bad. Normally bad things we will not want to show people, isn't it? But actually, as I already been reminding you all also, when you do good also, you need to conceal the best if no one knows. But Allah knows, so you don't have to. So as Hausi said, true devotion is again to lose the quality of being conscious of your devotion. See? You lose the faculty of being conscious of your devotion. For someone who identifies devotion in his devotion is a person whose devotion is in need of devotion. Can you understand that? For someone who identifies the devotion in his devotion, that means if you show what you're doing, you are a person who devotion is need for devotion. Right? So to contemplate devotion is to admire it, and admiration is an affliction. And that which is pure is whatever is free of all affliction. So this means that one deed should be purified from any self-admiration concerning the action they endure. Ayub said, it is harder for people of action to purify their intention than it is to execute any of their action. To execute action is much more easier, but to purify your intention is more difficult. Some people have said to be devout for a short while is to survive forever, but devotion is rare. Suhail was asked, what is the most difficult thing for the self? And he said, devotion when the self does not have the good fortune of being endowed with it. Al-Qudri said, forsaking action for the sake of others people is to seek their admiration. I mean, if you don't want to be doing something for someone, right, that is, you are seeking his admiration. To act for the sake of their admiration is to associate other with Allah.
Or admire.
Huh? Sorry? So devotion is when Allah free you from both. Okay, free you from both. From you admiring whatever, or you have a secret admirer for whatever that you do. It will help you to free. You have to free your heart from these both states. Can I understand before? Can you understand before we move on to the nature of intention? Any question? Any question? Hello, hello. Don't be
No,
shy.
Ustaz.
You're in class.
Assalamualaikum, Ustaz. Okay. Okay, in Islam, right, we are to do everything in moderation. Am I right?
Yes.
So everything should be done in moderation.
Yes. Are you sure that you have achieved moderation?
I leave it to Allah to decide my fate.
You have to try and strive yourself. Living to Allah without striving is also not right. Because
Okay, that's right. Yes.
according to the Quran, فَإِذَا أَذَنْتَ فَيَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. You have put on the effort, the strive, then you leave that matter in Allah's hand. So what we are learning now is actually the striving. We have to try our best, to, like I said just now, even in terms of the intention, if we have not stayed, we want to be doing something, but we want others to be admiring what we do, right? Then it will be thrown onto our face. So we need to reinstate back again and then continue, move on. And then only you can say, as what you said just now, we leave that in Allah's hand. At the end of the day, Allah is the one that decides. Allah
Thank
is
you, Ustaz.
what is in our heart. Thank you.
So that means that we will need to be in the state of being mindful
Yes.
most of the time of what we are doing and also we need to be in a state of mindful and striving jihad
Yes.
to be constantly aware of what we are doing and do a reflection every day to see where we went wrong and seek repentance. Is that correct?
Exactly. It's not too much, isn't it then?
So far, alhamdulillah,
Is it too
just
much?
through practice you'll be able to achieve it, inshallah.
Yeah. It's not really too much, you just have to strive, keep on striving. So let's go into the nature of what intention is all about. So the intention of a person is not his utterance, right? This is what happened to many of us. We are so focused in in whatever that we do. It's not the utterance. I intend to do so and so. It's not like that. It is an overflowing from the heart which runs like conquest inspired by Allah. See? That's why the Fajar prayer is so important, because this is where you ask for inspiration. Allahumma hdini fiman hadai. You need an overflowing of this inspiration. Okay, I repeat again, the intention of a person is not his utterance of the word, I intend to do so and so. But it is an overflowing from the heart which runs like conquest, inspired by. So sometimes, as you can see here, at times it is made easy. Sometimes it comes. Then you are really so focused, you feel so nice, you feel so great, you feel so calm, you feel at ease, you feel peace. That means when you're doing the intention, right, your heart is being inspired now. So it makes it easy. But other times, most of the time it's difficult. It will not come. Because we are not focused. We don't want to be focused. Because I think in our society today, all of us are so, imbued into what we have been doing, the routine things. That is the one that makes it difficult. Because this thing will keep on coming back to you. And when you're about to do the prayer, remember that you have a meeting, you have this, you forgot that, you leave your watches, your computer are not switched off, blah, 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 blah. This is what happens. So that's why you will not get the conquest that inspired now. So a person whose heart is overwhelmingly righteous find it easy to summon good intention at most times. See, the word is used, overwhelmingly righteous. So you have to be righteous. Then you will find it's easy to summon the good intention at most times. So such a person has a heart generally inclined towards the roots of goodness. This person likes to do all the good things. Again here, as I said, you want to be doing the good things, then you need to check what is good in the eyes of the religion. Who says it's good? The evidence just now must come from the Quran and Sunnah. Not as you deem is good. Okay? Which again, most of the time, blossom into the manifestation of good action. See, very beautiful is what is being mentioned. Such a person is a heart generally inclined to the roots of goodness. So normally, for you to get the concentration in whatever that you're doing, you have to have the heart that is inclined to the root of goodness, which most of the time it becomes, and then you get the blossom into the manifestation of the good action. As for those hearts inclined towards overwhelmed by worldly matters, so what happens? They find this difficult. It's true, isn't it? Because you are so imbued to the worldly system. Your boss said this, your wife said that, your friend said this. So this is the one that is overwhelmed in the worldly matter. And I'm talking about, of course, those names that I mentioned, that they are into the worldly matter. They kind of like worry you and they make you think of the worldly matter. That's what happens. So what happened here? They find this difficult to accomplish, and even obligatory act of worship may become difficult and tiresome. Isn't it true? So brothers and sisters in Islam, it's not really that difficult if you understand what is being stated. These are very simple English. It's not so bombastic, right? So regarding this, the Prophet ﷺ said, action are only by intention. Innama a'malu binniyat, right? Wa innama likulli imri'in ma nawa. And every man shall only have what he intended, right? So that's example. These are the like I said, hadiths that normally when we study we have to memorize this. Wa man kana hijratu ilallah ila rasul hijratu ilallah wa rasul. Wa man kana hijratuhu من الدنيا أو امرأة, the hadith, this is what the translation is. Where the Prophet reminded who hijrah was for Allah, if they were to follow the Prophet that time from Makkah to Medina, and the intention was really wants to be with the Prophet, and his hijrah, his migration was known for Allah and His Messenger. But for those who hijrah wants to achieve some worldly benefits, because at that time Medina is much more progressive, and they want to go there for that reason, for the worldly benefit, or because of, okay, the girlfriend go, the wife follow the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they also don't want to be left behind. They follow for that, as mentioned here about marriage. Then the hijrah was for what? Was for that for which he made the hijrah. See, very simple and clear. So here, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah defined this. He said that this hadith is the third of all knowledge. See, it's the third of all knowledge. The words action are only by intention mean that deeds which are performed in accordance with the Sunnah are only acceptable and rewarded if the intention behind them was sincere. That's all. As again we know in other chapters of the Quran, Allah made it very clear. وَمَا أُمِرُهُ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ. Allah said, I didn't demand much from you. I said that for whatever that you do, the intention must be solely for me. So if it is not, then you have to reinstate. Redo it again and again and again until you get Allah Ta'ala's assistance. Okay? So it is like the saying of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam again, action depends upon their outcome. So every action that you do also, you will want to know the outcome of what you do, isn't it? So likewise, the words every man shall only have what he intended mean that the reward for an action depends upon the intention behind. And so most of the time, if it is bad, right, you find that you will not get what you intended to, because Allah look at the intention. Sometimes you didn't realize you have some ill intention in whatever that you want to be achieving in life, be it the worldly matter or even in the hereafter. You may have some ill. Example like some people rush, want to be able to memorize the Quran, right? It's not for Allah. It's just that he's challenging another of his friends, so that people know that okay, you can memorize 15 chapter. I can also memorize 20. This is what I'm just giving an example, not hinting on anybody, okay? Not generalizing the statement of what I'm saying now. I'm just give you a hint to make you understand better. This is what happened. We didn't realize some of these things. So this is what Imam Shafi'i defined the hadith earlier. So after stating this principle, the Prophet ﷺ gave example of it by saying, thus he whose hijrah, whose migration was for Allah and His Messenger, his migration was for Allah and His Messenger. And he whose migration was to achieve some worldly benefit or to take some women in marriage, his hijrah was for that for which he made hijrah. He will get the same. So deeds which are apparently identical may differ because the intention behind them are different in degree of goodness and badness from one person to another. Again, this is, you see, valuing the intention. Value the intention. So good intention do not change the nature of forbidden action. In other words, it's just like the concept of Robin Hood. His intention was good to help the poor, right? But it does not change the nature that robbing is forbidden in whatever action that he does. Okay? So this goes without saying to most of the things that we do. Maybe I have come across people who come and say, can I gamble? Can I buy 4D? Or my intention was to do good things, to help. And if I strike lottery, or if I win in whatever that I'm doing, right? I will give half of whatever that I earn for charity. Okay, but and most of the time, normally they don't get, and they find that, okay, this is, and that is only Allah. Allah knows, what is. And that's why down here it mentioned the degree of goodness and badness from one person to another may differ. So good intention do not change the nature of forbidden action, and the ignorant should not misconstrue the meaning. Okay? You should not misconstrue the meaning of the hadith. Don't try to twist and turn the hadith. The hadith is very clear. And think that good intention could turn forbidden action into acceptable. The intention can sometimes, turn even the forbidden thing, the forbidden action, into acceptable. So this is where, in situation of what we call as daruriya, right? This one we have to keep on learning. Wallahi, this book is already, maybe to many find it so difficult, but the other one, the disciplining of the soul, is even more tough. That's why I asked Brother Daniel to use this. And then another one that he also recommended, that one is also very good. There are 3 books all I downloaded. I'm ready to continue for our Wednesday class. Okay? So just bear with me. And these are all in English, so if you don't want me to read, you can be asking questions. So the above saying of the Prophet ﷺ specifically relates to act of worship, okay, and permissible action, not to forbidden one. I mean, basing on the hadith of Innama Amal Biniyah. So worship and permissible action can be turned into forbidden ones because of the intention behind it. Can you understand that? Worship and permissible action can be turned into forbidden. Depend on the intention of what you are doing. What are the action that you're doing? It can be forbidden. Example, you plan to be rude to your husband. You plan to be arguing with him and this and that. This is where you see it's permissible action, but it turns into forbidden if you're being rude to your husband. Okay? Because of the intention behind them. The intention is the one that plays the part. If you intend to be, argumentative, to have an argument with your friend or your wife, your employer, but if it is of a noble mean, your aim is to try to make him understand and this and that, then it's permissible. So as mentioned here, and permissible action can become either good or bad deeds by the intention, depend on what is in your mind, which is again beyond human apprehension. Human doesn't know this. It's only you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ keep on reminding, be careful of our intention when we are doing something. But wrong as, yes.
No, sorry, yeah. Okay, I mean, you're touching on this intention. Let's say, at times, I mean, for example, we do things, the intention initially kick off is right, the intention just for Allah and Allah only. But as we go along, at times, we forget. Okay, we forget, then the intention goes deviate to other things. So in this matter, how do we actually check ourselves, Ustaz, as not being deluded or delusion with whatever actions that we are doing?
Okay. According to that other book, he says, knowing the excellence of the mind is enough for us to favor. And further, we need additional proof of the uprightness of the mind decision. Can you understand? You need additional proof of the uprightness of the mind decision. You should also sometimes contemplate the consequences of following your desire before you start doing. Does that answer to what you are seeking for?
Limentum, Ustaz.
Huh?
Limentum.
Just now you said that first when you want to do, your intention was noble, right?
Yep.
Then halfway through, you beginning to contemplate, or you just do?
Halfway through you do, but you know, the intention is like I mean kira macam deviate lah. Kadang macam certain things like you mentioned, you know, when people start to talk, you know, you at times you feel good, and then you just without realizing, you know, you forget that your real intention is because of him, you know, those type of things. So the question is, how do we actually realize that, you know, we actually already dah syok sendiri kind of thing and come back.
Above, right? You can see here. So deeds which are apparently identical. Okay, deeds which are apparently identical may differ again. Differ because of the intention behind it. Are different in degree of goodness and badness. So in that situation, we say that the degree of badness overriding the goodness, right? Then once you realize it, you stop, and then you have to retrieve back what you have done. Reinstate back your intention. You understand?
Okay, Ustaz. I think I get it. If I don't understand, I'll ask you again.
Sure. So as what is being mentioned here, you know, I mean, because of the intention behind them and permissible, and permissible action can become either good or bad deeds by the intention. Depend on. Okay, an example would be like you wanted to give someone something, right? This is the beauty of the power of our intellect, and we must use our intellect. You know, Allah had made it clear, and then in the surah that commonly we know, halakal insana fi ahsani taqwim. See this verse. This is where you have to be using the intelligence that Allah gave us. Meaning, like before you do any action, right? You should get more information on the thing that you are about to embark into. You have to be patient. Okay? It can be good, it can be an app or shit, it can be any good thing that you plan to do. But you have to hold it back to make sure that you have enough information. Once if you have done that, right, and then if it is still wrong, then you will not be held responsible. Can you understand?
So in short, we need to check the whole thing whether we have the capacity to carry out to execute the things first lah.
As I always mention, that's why sometimes, you know, it's good to know some learned people. So you can check with them, you know, whether what you intended to do is, you know, get more info. You know, does he knows about that, and whether is it going to be good or is it going to be bad? Right. You have. That's why the importance is mentioned there. You need to have additional proof of the uprightness of our mind when we make the decision. That's what I try to make you all understand also. You know, like many of the things that pertaining to good and bad. Correct me if I'm wrong, eh? This is my instinct. I'm talking using my instinct. Most of you doesn't want to be patient to understand the rational or the, you know, whether it has whatever that you are planning to, or it's going to, you know, destroy you. That's this is the credibility of the intellectualism that Allah has innate in us. We need to use it. Because Allah has made it clear to say, you know, halakal insana fi ahsani taqwim. If you don't follow this ahsan taqwim here is referring that you are being given an intellect. You know, this intellect, if you didn't use that, as the verse continues, khalaqal insana fi ahsani taqwim summa radadnahu asfala safilin. Meaning that you will go right worse than an animal, because you must first knew that whatever the action that you saw from an animal did, right, be it good or bad, they will not be held responsible for whatever they do. Are you aware of that? First, you need to ask that question. Walaikum. Are you aware of that?
Yes, Ustaz.
You are aware of it. So if you are aware of it, then you are responsible for the action of whatever that you have decided, because you knew that you are not cat, you are not dog, you are not this animal, you know, where they are not being held responsible for whatever they do because they don't have a mind. So Allah will not, you know, judge them on the day of judgment. They're not given a mind. So, but in the case for human, as this verse said, you know, halakal insana fi ahsani taqwim, I have equipped you with the intellect, and if you don't want to use the intellect, you know, sumara dadnahu asfala safil, you will be worse than animal. Even the animal look at you and said, Astaghfirullah, they mean these people, it's a pity why they can't see, why they are not using their intellect. This is beautiful if you can understand what I'm sharing, and this is in the book of Disciplining Your Soul, because it talks about intellectualism. The first topic, it talks about the difference between the perspective of the mind and the perspective of our desire, hawa. Okay? So worship and permissible action can be turned into forbidden ones because of the intention behind them. And it goes without saying, so the permissible action can sometimes become either good or bad deeds by the intention. Like I already said, just an example would be like eating. If you state the intention you eat, see, it can become good with the intention also that you have energy, you know, you can be doing your act of worship, so on and so forth. And sometimes it can also become something that is bad. Meaning that once if you're overdoing it, like I gave an example, like, okay, I'm jealous of Hermanto is able to do the night prayer. That's why, you know, again, I've been telling you all, when you want to be doing good deeds, don't make an announcement to even your spouse. Just do it. Do it. If you're doing it for Allah, they don't have to be knowing, unless if they, you know, you are young, you are in a honeymoon, and you cannot just leave your wife in the bed and you go somewhere else, then she might be thinking, hey, what happened? You can just tell them that you want to go to the toilet or you want to do something, you know, so that you don't tell them what are the things that you want to do, but you are still within your house. Okay, that's what it means by sometimes even act of worship, even with good intention, you know? And when bad intention are accompanied by flaws in the action themselves, then their gravity and punishment are multiplied. Oh, scary, eh? You understand? When bad intention are accompanied by flaws, you have that bad intention to be doing something that is bad, then there is a flaw in the action of what you do, then the gravity and punishment are multiplied. It goes up. So any praiseworthy act must be rooted in sound intention. Just remember that, like as I told you, the Quran says, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ. Didn't ask much from you, that you just have a sound intention. So any praiseworthy act must be rooted in sound intention. Only then should it be deemed worthy of you. Only then you can rest assured you will be rewarded. So the fundamental principle should be that the act is intended for the worship of Allah. As earlier mentioned, right? Sometimes it can be easy, yeah, after you utter lillahi ta'ala, but sometimes it can be lillahi dola. The intention differ, right? If our intention is to show off, that's where the differ comes. Then this same act of worship will in fact become act of disobedience, because you want to show off. Why? Why you want to show off? It happens to me as a teacher. Sometimes people treat us like nothing. Sometimes people are racing, to be showing. So be careful of whatever you say, whatever, uh, if you start comparing. Or I remember when I was teaching, when I was still a counselor in prison, this is the habit of most prisoners. They want to test you. They want to test your knowledge. So they ask questions that actually they themselves don't know. So this is, we knew the intention is they want to show off that they are long sentence, like 30 years or 15 years of prison and 7 years, 10 years. These are the one that they want to show. So here the fundamental principle should be that the act is intended for Allah. So if you're doing it for Allah, must people know? Hello? Must you tell everybody?
No,
Ah,
no, not at all.
yeah, just do it just quietly. You want to fast on Monday, Thursday, must announce, must publish in the newspaper. That's why the earlier generation, up to the extent, they don't want you to be knowing that they are doing something. They are willing to break their fast for you. They don't want you to be knowing that or tracking them to, because this will make them become boastful or show off, right? This is, we are a human being, If somebody keep on saying, "Oh, I see you up," I think in my Bohai club when I was teaching, they were sharing with me about these things. They were asking the question. There is a sister that studied from Monday to Sunday. Can you imagine? From Monday to Sunday. So this boys back then to the intention. Why? Why are you doing that? For what? And why must you be telling other people that you're studying from Monday to Sunday? For what reason? So as mentioned here, if your intention to show off, then this
Can't hear.
huh? What?
Just
Hello?
now can't hear Ustaz talking.
Is it? So if the intention is to show off, then this same act of worship will in fact become act of disobedience. Scary,
Assalamualaikum, Ustaz.
Assalamualaikum.
Ustaz, if a wife wants to do a good deed, must she get permission from the husband?
She needs to not permission, but she need to notify, like I said just now, so that the husband will not be wondering, because depend again on the act of worship that you are doing, right? If that act of worship is an obligatory one, then seeking of husband's permission is not required. Example would be like during Ramadan you want to fast and your husband wants you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
In that kind of situation, no. You have to disobey him, because Allah has to be obeyed.
Mhm.
But if the act of worship where you are doing the sunnah one, alright,
Mhm.
then obeying your husband is obligatory.
Mhm.
Isn't
Okay.
it?
Yeah,
Some
got it.
inspired by the religion. Because he's the one that will lead you into Jannah. So if you don't listen to him, then what is the use of having him beside you? But in matter that is not the obligatory, as I mentioned just, if it is an obligatory act of worship, then you have the right not informing him. But if the sunnah, no. This is the beauty of how Allah arranged in such a manner that every one of us will be respected for that. For that, if we play the role, if we don't, then of course we don't get what we're supposed to get. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Ustad.
So, as for the permissible deeds, they are all involved intentionally. The permissible deed will also follow the intention, which can potentially turn them into excellent act, which brings a man nearer to Allah. Now, remember, I even told you, right? If you were you can later, I mean, when we finish this book, there's another book that's recommended by uh, Brother Daniel, which is also, I have read the book, very interesting. That just give me a minute, I'll go quickly. It's an Arabic book, Shara al-Aqidah lil Wasatiyah. Shar al-Aqidat Shar al-Aqidatil Wasatiyah, also by Imam Ibn Qayyim. He first asked me whether I can be using the book is very cheap. So I don't want you to get boring of the way starting a new book with so many very complicated things that we will discuss. But it is important to know about the Aqidah because, and then he uses the term wasatiyah there, as what Sister Roslinda was mentioning just now, uh, being moderate. Moderate, I already shared with you, right? You must remember, which is a good thing if you can make a profession or can make an announcement that you are a moderate Muslim, but make sure that you are able to have the three. You must be just, you must be balanced, and you must be excellent. And it's not only in ibadah, Ibadah again is a wide term that again we didn't understand, especially the ibadah umum I told you. It covers a lot of other things. An example, like some people, the ibadah all are very good, but when it comes to work, their socializing things is a problem. They do not know how to even respect their neighbors, you know, especially in this modern time. This is then again it affected your all the good things that you do. So it boils back to the intention. What was the quarrel all about? Sometimes there are things that we don't understand, and sometimes we don't understand them, and sometimes they also doesn't understand us. So these are the things that we have to always remember. This is under the subject of Hablum minan Nas. We must not forego this. Okay, so the fundamental principle should be that the act is intended for Allah alone. If our intention is to show off, that's where I stop this now, then this same act of worship will in fact become act of disobedience. Same thing that we're doing, but the intention was because of, you don't know my verse. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Then after prayer, suddenly somebody comes, hey, just now, goosebump, your voice really been wow. Then, that one just a little bit, only Fatiha, you haven't heard me reading Al-Baqarah or Yasin. You are showing off. Then it becomes the act of disobedience. Careful, be careful. As for permissible deeds, they all involve intention, the permissible one, which can potentially turn them into excellent act, which bring a man nearer to Allah and confer on him the gift of closeness to him. So here we go into the excellence of intention. The same thing as I mentioned, if you want to be a moderate Muslim, this excellence is being used across the board. There's no such thing only in ibadah that you're excellent, but then at work you're not excellent. And then with your wife you're not excellent. With your children you're not excellent. No, the excellent is everything. Okay, so it's not something that can be achieved in a short period. So here, Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu said, which means the best act are doing what Allah has commanded. And this, you have to buy the book, Al-Kaba'ir. Al-Kaba'ir will speak about all these acts pertaining to the things that Allah prohibited. And then maybe one day, as I was sharing with Brother Aidin Yao just now, I'm learning the technological thing, and this is being used worldwide now, which I would try, I would try and do it myself, or otherwise I will wait for Brother Aidin to help me out. I will have a private, and like every day I will be giving you an hadith based on the book of the other side. Okay, if you want to be doing, as what mentioned, the best act are doing what Allah has commanded, and you can't go directly to the Quran, so you have to go to the hadith. And this is again a reliable compilation of Imam Nawawi from the book of Riyadh Salihin. Then we will go into all these best act as Allah commanded us. Example here they give is like staying away from what Allah has forbidden. So all this mutashabih, it's not muhkamat. The forbidden thing that is in the Quran is needs to be cleared by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then only you understand what are the forbidden, because Allah did not give everything, every detail in the Quran. Then the Quran cannot be 140 chapters. So that's why the role of the Sunnah is important. So what is being mentioned here? The first thing is to stay away from what Allah has forbidden and having sincere intention towards whatever Allah has required of us. Some of our predecessors say many small actions are made great by the intention behind them. You see, sometimes, again, this is what the Prophet ﷺ again recommended, do things that are little, but with a great, with a sincere intention, then it becomes a great intention behind it. So many great actions, on the other hand, are made small because of the intention behind them are lacking. An example will be that if you want to be donated, then you want the whole world to know, you want the whole of your family know, you want your friends to know, and this and that, then you see that great act of what you are doing becomes small because the intention behind them are lacking. Yeah, Ibn Abu Qasir said, learn about intention, for their importance is greater than the importance of the action. We learn action, but we don't learn the intention. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu once heard a man who was putting on his ihram say, "Oh Allah, I intend to do Hajj and Umrah." So he said to him, "Is it not in fact the people whom you are informing of your intention? Does not Allah already know what is in your heart? So it is because good intention are exclusively the concern of the heart, that they should not be voiced during worship." So this is why in most of the Arab countries, they follow this strictly by not answering to whatever is being said. Can you understand what is being said? That's not Allah. So they are basing on this, so that's why they keep it to themselves. They don't make the intention. Okay?
Ustaz,
Yes.
so it means this part that you quoted, about saying out your intention when you're putting on the ihram, when you're doing your umrah or your hajj. You're supposed to announce it, and so which part is this that you're saying that what's in your heart, Allah knows? So are you supposed to say out your intentions, which I think you are, right, actually?
It's no harm for us because this one they are referring to those who are very much against. I mean, the exaggeration of the intention, they say it loudly until like as if like you think Allah don't know what you want to be doing. In other words, what is being said and what is being done is two separate things. Can you understand? He actually are not doing it solely for Allah, but he wants to show off that he can be doing Umrah and Hajj. And that's why sometimes when I lead pilgrims when we are in Mecca, I remind them, don't overdo the Umrah Sunnah. Because normally the agent will provide for Umrah, they give you 3 Umrah Sunnah. What matter is the intention. I mean, to utter is not something that is wrong. But in this dialogue, he's trying to make us understand that because there are people that focus on the utterance too much. They forgotten that before even you stay, before you utter, right? Allah already know. And in tutumaki anfusikum wa tufuhasikum billah. This is what Allah wants. Before even we intend to be doing it, Allah already know. So that's why there are differences of opinion regarding this, which is said by Umar ibn Khattab. They thought that not to focus so much on the utterance, because it's actually something not easy, if you didn't train yourself. I don't know, you can try if you don't believe. You straight away after taking the ablution, you straight away go to the prayer mat and then takbir and just continue praying. You see, what is going to happen here normally? People will slip their mind to think, hey, alamak, what am I praying? Zuhur or asar? This is the why there is Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah has answered to this, what is being said in this text here, right? Imam Shafi'i give the reason has to, and the ruling for stating the intention is not obligatory. But in our society, because we don't learn, it can become a quarrel if you didn't state the intention, even among husband and wife. Why you never say the intention? Why you never utter the intention? I didn't hear you utter. So you got to be very careful, because you have to make sure that if you're doing it to show off again, then it becomes, as mentioned earlier, that it becomes disobedient to Allah. Does that answer your question?
Can, thanks. It's actually more on your intentions, like actually sincere ones, and
yes, because normally is, I mean, those are the what you hear in the society lah. Normally they said there is no hadith that you have to utter. That is very true. Nobody is denying it. But Imam Shafi'i is the one that say it's a sunnah to utter the intention. If you base on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, there is no utterance of the intention. So it's up to you if your heart can be focused in what you're doing, because one of the conditions of prayer, there should also be certainty, yaqeen. The moment you are doubtful, that's why for certain act, right, there is sujud sawi, right? That one is only the sunnah mu'akada. If you left the sunnah mu'akada, then you have to add with the sujud sawi, because that is just admitting that we are human beings, we forgotten. Example, you didn't do the tashahud awal. Tashahud awal is under the category of sunnah mu'akada. You can forgo the tashahud awal, right? But you want a reward, then you can, if you have accidentally you overlook or you've forgotten to sit for the tashahhud awal, straight away you after you end, at the end of your sitting posture is where you realize, I didn't sit for the tashahhud awal. So you want the reward for that missing of the tashahhud awal. After fil alamina innaka hamidum majid, do not say your salam, then prostrate again. That is known as sujud sawi. So that is meant for forgetfulness. But not deliberately, if you do it, then there is no sujud sawi. Okay? So it is because good intention are exclusively the concern of the heart. That's why, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah at the talafuz dunya. Usalli qadha, that one is, they call it in Arabic, is talafuz. Because lafaz, from the word lafaz, right? You utter. But the intention is not the work of the mouth. The intention is the work of the heart. So that's why they were very much against us uttering it. But it's, it's Imam Shafi'i is the one that says sunnah to utter. Because of the good intention are exclusively the concern of the heart. So be careful of that. I think we will stop here. Because the next one is already a next topic about the excellence of knowledge and teaching. Any question? Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Any question? Is it too cheap? No, right? My English is rubbish, so I don't think so. It's something that you cannot understand. I don't suppose. No question?
Ustaz. Assalamualaikum, Ustaz.
I'm listening.
Can you go back to the paragraph about the hijrah?
Oh dear, I already stopped share.
Oh, okay, never mind. I can refer to.
Can read to me, I remember, because that one is a hadith.
Yeah.
Meaning that if you follow the migration, right?
Yeah.
If the action was for the wali matter, you will get that. You will not get the reward of following the Prophet. Is that what you want to know?
No, this part about the text. Thus, he whose hijrah was for Allah and His Messenger, his hijrah was for Allah and His Messenger, and he whose hijrah was to achieve some worldly benefit or to take some woman in his marriage. The last sentence I don't understand. His hijrah was that for which he made hijrah.
Yeah, meaning the hijrah, the migration will follow the intention of that person.
The migration will follow the intent. Oh, okay.
Because if you intend to follow the Prophet and you're doing it for Allah and the Prophet, you will be rewarded for that. Following Allah and the Prophet. But should you want to do the migration, because you can see, of course, the Medina women are very beautiful, they know. So they want to go there for that, just want to marry, they will get also what they want. And for the worldly matter, maybe for business, maybe the camel there is much more handsome than the camel in Makkah. Hence, again, until today, most of the Medinan people are much more soft than compared to the Makkah people. So that hadith is referring to the companion when the Prophet start migrating from Makkah to Medina. So I would him and then to let him know there are people who are following you, not following you, And that's where we from there is where the traitor by the name of Ulullah ibn Sabah, he became a traitor. hypocrites. Then that is the same time as what Allah revealed the chapter Munafiqun to the Prophet. They're also hypocrites who are accompanying you. They don't migrate for you. They want to be a liar. They want to play with the religion and so on and so forth. So that's why that hadith becomes very important in our class of hadith. When we study the hadith, they want us to memorize that hadith. وَمَنْ كَانَ هِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَمَنْ كَانَ هِجْرَتُهُ مِنْ إِمْرَأَةَ وَمِنْ دُنْيَا وَهِجْرَتُهُ. Meaning the same thing as what you have read the translation.
Okay.
If you tend to migrate for Allah and Rasul, you get reward for migrating because of Allah and Rasul. But if you migrate just to go for the booty or for the women, for doing business in Medina, then that's what you're going to get. But you will not get any reward from Allah. That's all.
Okay, understand. Thank you, Ustaz.
Any others? Don't be shy lah. I like Asha. Asha will just whack me. I mean, she will just what to do. Promise is to do, Asha. I mean, like I like challenging. Challenge. If you challenge, is where you learn. That's where my knowledge will come out. If you didn't ask question, then although I know many of you still are not very happy because of I read books. I've been explaining this many times. I read book is because I want to be careful with the words. I think if you have, I do counseling this afternoon with an English lady. Like as what? Okay, let me give an example. We have Bilal in this group, right? If you're not a French guy, you learn French language doesn't make you French, isn't it? Can you understand?
Yes, I can understand because I learned French before.
So it's the same with in the religion. Sometimes because of the language, and language is known as a medium, right? It becomes like tools for communication. In education, in even communication, in the business industries. You use the language, it becomes a very important tools, right? Although I'm from an English school, but I'm not coming from an elite group or, I don't have that high education. I pick up most of what you hear me speaking in English, what I pick it up myself. I'm a primary six student, but in writing thesis, and because of my background of what I was before, so that's how I don't know, I leave it up to you lah. If you think that you cannot understand my English, then I may have to do something about that. And that's why I don't want to be like saying the wrong thing, so I read books and I explain. Rather than I can be talking to you. You just give me a topic. I can share.
Start learn French, yeah.
Huh?
French.
You want me to speak French? We have Bilal. Bilal can speak to you.
Ustaz?
Yes.
Ustaz?
Yes, Roslinda.
I prefer learning Arabic or Mandarin. Thanks.
Mandarin.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Alhamdulillah. So if there's no other question, we want to end the session reciting Surah Al-Fatiha to our respected alternate, Syed Rashid alternate. May Allah Ta'ala lessen whatever that he's suffering. May Allah Ta'ala put him at the best of the best among us. Because he is, as you know, he is fit. You can see him in most of the classes he will be attending. He's a very special guy. I can tell you that. You don't know. I can't be revealing about his whatever that he's suffering from. So I was told that he's not in a very healthy situation, and he texted me and want every one of us to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. May Allah Ta'ala protect him and give him the strength. And although he is in this flight, but normally his mom is there beside him. Very lovable boy. Mom will always be with him. So yeah, we pray for both of them. May Allah Ta'ala always protect them and make them closer to Allah Ta'ala to bear through whatever hardship, sickness that they are suffering. الفاتحة بنية السلامة والحفظ من الأمراض والآهات والعقوبات واشف مرضى سيد رشيد بن sick. What is his name?
Munaim.
Syed Rashid bin Syed Naim al-Janet ala niyat al-qabul wa ila hadat Rasul Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Fatiha. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. طب القلوب ودعوائها وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وفتن الجسد وهدائها وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشى ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعوة لا يستجاب لها. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.